Because love is beautiful. Because love is beautiful.
Haya mata kay nangau ke fuduala hai hello long ya love is beautiful ai hana mata kay nanga lolongo ya ne manako le hanena le ki ai ka mga honi ko hoko mai tuai pulotu taha pulotu nosi hado toru ko ia ko presteni ke mga honi he matakau he tau Nosi Niue I New Zealand nei sikam nei Richard whakauelai mahaki ke hawa tau mga ho kua fuaki mai kai whakalofa lahi atu kia koe.
Whakalawhai atu ke matolo osi, whakalawhai atu ke koe ma inga, and whakalawhai atu to your listeners, and thank you for the opportunity to be on your program today.
Richard, we're going to use both language, ka? Whakaniwe, whakapalangi mai. Don't worry if you make a mistake or you stuck with the Niuean word, but the door is open for you, ka ke mga honei, sige mnei. Would you like to introduce yourself? How are to mga fi ko hai to matuha so our listeners know ko tama ka hamena ia. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
So thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself. So my name is Richard Sihamau. My parents are Ikamaka Tolo Sihamau, who originally resided in Toi, and then his family took residence up in Tuapa. My mother is Lingi Tupe Hopatoa, who resides, or her family come from Alofi. So that's my family connection to Niue. I have some siblings who live obviously around here in New Zealand, and I have a brother over in Australia. We all work in different sectors. I'm kind of the one who's followed my mum's footsteps in the health sector and nursing. And so that's where I've kind of, that's my kind of background and my brief work history. I kind of work at Te Whatuora County's Manukau, also known as Littlemore Hospital.
Whakauelahi, Richard, that is a perfect introduction. Now our listeners will know, koe tama ringe, koe tama hawa mututane ka. So those are the things that they want to hear. Ke longone lau toru, see, they make up their... Richard, the first question is, what are your thoughts? You have an opportunity to meet with the Minister of Social Services from Niue, Her Excellency Honourable Sonia Talangi. So what are your thoughts on Sunday when you met with the Minister, and what are the things that it might be fruitful for the Niue Nurses Association?
Yes, so first of all, I'd just like to make a correction in terms of where the association is now called Nosi Niue. We had a name change last year, and so we're in the process of getting people used to the idea that the nurses organization or association is now called Nosi Niue. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank you, Vika Inga, for allowing us to have the whānau at your church hall. It was very helpful. I'm also grateful for our Nosi Niue colleagues who are kind of doing work in the background to allow and to make that whānau happen. First of all, respects to the Honourable Sonia Talangi, for making an appointment with the Nosi Niue and reaching out to meet and share her plans in terms of how Niue and the Nosi Niue can work collaboratively together to ensure that we have a better relationship, a working relationship that will benefit each other. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity for the meeting to happen. I'm also grateful that also present was the charge nurse of Niue Hospital, was Rose Jackson-Sioane. It was an honor to meet her. I know I've heard a lot about her. Some of our nurses had an opportunity to work with her. And so having her presence was also very valuable on the day. So having her insight into how Niue Fo Hospital works was very helpful because, they're quite different systems. We are fortunate here to have a lot of resources and to hear that they have limited resources in Niue, and therefore sometimes they need to reach out like they have in this occasion. So I'm so very grateful that the whānau was able to happen, and we had some really deep, meaningful discussions, and we look forward to having those discussions progress in the future.
Yeah, of course, Richard. Iloyo, this is your first, the Nosi Niue, first significant meeting with the minister. What areas the Nosi Niue assist with the Niue going forward?
Yes, so in terms of those discussions, they were very helpful in terms of seeing where we can kind of work together. We know that our nurses who train in Fiji, and then some who train here, and we kind of understand that that was purely due to funding. So it's really good to have some clarity in terms of how nurses are trained back home, because we also because what we are mindful of is when nurses train in the islands, what we would like for them is to come and work here automatically. But unfortunately, because of the training programs, that's not always so easy. So having some of that background was also quite important for us, for Nosi Niue to understand how the processes of training happen back home. In terms of how we're going to go forward with our plans, these are going to be discussions that are going to be had in the future. They're very early in the planning process at the moment. The first step, obviously, was to meet and understand where each other stands. So what we would like to do is kind of formalize those plans a little bit more, and then once those plans have been set, and then we can start forming those closer ties. So at the moment, the Nosi Niue has been supportive of Niue. So we have been, when Niue has reached out in terms of assistance, the Nosi Niue has been able to assist them with staffing and where it's been possible. One of the logistics that we kind of have at the moment is that because a lot of our nurses here in New Zealand are employed, and we have obligations to our organizations, and so therefore we need to have clearance from our employees to have that, to be able to work in Niue. So we're always willing to help. It just means that there's some logistics in the background to enable that to happen. Also previously, we've been fortunate to work through PMA over the last COVID response when Niue reached out, and so PMA reached out to the Nosi Niue to see if there were any of our Niuean nurses who were able to assist, and we were able to assist with Hayden Eric, who was able to go over to Niue and help them. So we're very grateful for PMA to reaching out to Nosi Niue to help out in that situation. So there's lots of things happening in the background. We just kind of need to formalize all the plans. And as I say, these are very early discussions, and we look forward to formalizing these.
Tōla he fuala mo e makona foki whanongonongo ma Richard koe PMA ma taumata koe Pacific Medical Association ka ma Richard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Pacific Medical Association. So, they're a big key player. They deal with a lot of the logistics that happen in the background to enable us to travel safely to the Pacific Islands, and in this case to Niue.
Richard, there are also discussion around the Nosi Niue providing some assistance for Niue patients who are referred to New Zealand for medical assistance. Was that a discussion fruitful?
Yes, it's interesting in terms of having that information on the background in terms of as healthcare providers, we are in the system, and we kind of know how we can kind of tap and use our colleagues to kind of help assist with the processes of assisting our Niuean colleagues, patients. So it was interesting in terms of how in the background, we kind of assume that we're doing all the right things. And then when we had the amalgamation of the DHBs into Te Whatu Ora and centralising our health system, we thought that that was a good plan in terms of sharing resources. As we understand that that hasn't been such a good thing in terms of contacting for our specific people, our Niuean patients, who do they actually contact for assistance in such an organisation where they used to have the resources, but now it's all been centralised. So that's really important information for us as healthcare providers to understand. So so what we kind of say at the moment is, yes, our resources are limited, but what we can do is, you do have the nurses, the Nosi Niue Niue. We are contacted obviously through PMN. And if there are any issues, we can help where we can help. What we don't want is for our patients struggling, or our Niueans struggling, and not being able to seek assistance. There is assistance available, and there are resources. It's just a matter of reaching out and tapping into that. So, yeah, just all we say is, if you're not sure, please reach out. We are available. And there's many ways you can contact us, and as we found through the vaccination program, there's a lot of Niueans that we can tap into. So I'm just mindful that yes, that it was a very interesting news that people aren't able to tap into these resources or don't know how to, and yet there's people like ourselves who are available to assist. So yes, by all means, we can help where we can.
Richard, koe tau matutakianga, have you got a contact number? So now people are hearing, and I'm sure they're quite happy with the progress of the Nosi Niue mo tonga hua ko whakawhita muturu ki ai. Have you got a contact number for the Nosi Niue or yourself, or email address? Ke moua ka ha?
Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit difficult in terms of giving my number out to everybody.
Yeah. No, you don't have to give your number out.
Yes, and so by all means, in the first instance, if they contact the station, because that's the first point of call, PMN, and then by all means, please come through us. At the moment, we're just formalising our point of contact in terms of we're organising our website, and on our website we will have all our contact details. That's currently in the process, so once that's released, we'll let everyone know.
Hana mata kainanga e talawanga he pulotu nei ha tautulu ko Richard ke lata ia mo tautulu ke mga huni e la mau po ia e tau whakatokatokanga ke lata mo tau Nosi Niue. Kai mai kam tolu ke vilo mai ke whaama ke mo ai e numela ha Richard ha koe ai pe koe ai manako mata kainanga ha koe whoro mga wha e ke whakakelea he te tangata, si ko te mena ia ni ko pui ai pihia. Vilo mai am tolu ke whaama, po ke vilo mai am tolu ki mitolo moa, will be miro moa is another option.
Yeah, and the problem with when you start going into a centralised service like Middlemore, the service is so big, you get lost in it. Yeah. So hence why I kind of say, contact the station and you'll get the nurses, whereas if you go to Middlemore, they'll try and put you into someone who can help you. They may not necessarily be Pacific. So hence why I kind of just say, for the meantime, would you mind contacting PMN? And then we'll be able to assist you through that service.
Hana matamat kay nanga. Richard, whakawelai maha ki mahingoa he PMN niwe ki awhiawhi, ke hawa tau mga aho, mo hawa tau pulotu kua whala mai. Amana ki ni ke tupuaki, e tau ngahua, ham tolu e tau nosi, moe mātutaki ki niwe moe hā tau tūla wharenga ngāo ka lata ia moe tau whi lango mata ia ki anga. Well, Have you got a shout out to your colleagues?
Yeah.
or any last thoughts?
Yeah, the thoughts would be basically that we are looking for more nurses, and we're especially looking for more Pacific nurses. So what I'm kind of saying to our younger people who are looking at doing nursing as a future, please take science subjects. They are really important for you to continue your studies into the nursing sector. The nursing sector is really incredible. I've been in the service for over 30 years now, and I have done many things in that role. So we have a lot of our Pacific nurses working overseas. So it's an opportunity. It's a job that takes not only work in New Zealand and the Pacific Islands, but it takes you internationally. So please consider taking up nursing as a career option because it does work well for you in the future. And thank you once again for PMN for inviting Nosi Niue to your show. We really appreciate your support, and we wish our Pacific people the very best of health.
Shout out to your colleagues.
Oh, so all our colleagues, Nosi Niue, to all my colleagues at work at Middlemore Hospital, really appreciate the support you've given me and continue to give the Pacific nurses over the years, and just really appreciate the support that you guys have given me. So thank you, whakolai.
Haia matamakainanga hana e whakatutalanga hana tatoru whakauela he maha ki Richard kia manuina e awhiawhi.